DevOps Engineer, you see that job title everywhere, right? But what do they actually do? I mean, really, today we're going to peel back the curtain, get past all the buzzwords, and figure out what this super important, kind of mysterious role is all about.
So yeah, you've seen the job postings, you've heard people throw the term around, but what's a day in the life really like? I'll give you a hint. It's probably not what you're picturing. Let's dive in and find out.
Because what we're going to do is look past that shiny, polished job description and get right into the messy, chaotic, but always fascinating reality of the gig.
Okay, so let's start with the textbook definition, right? The official line is that a DevOps engineer bridges the gap between the dev team and the ops team. Sounds pretty straightforward, nice and clean, but trust me, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
All right, part one, the official job blueprint. Let's really break down what this job looks like on paper. You know, the core functions, the stuff you'd see in a formal job description.
So first up, collaboration. This is a big one. Think of the DevOps engineer as like the central hub of a wheel. They're the glue holding the development and operations teams together. They've got to speak everyone's language to make sure the whole machine is moving in the right direction.
Then we've got infrastructure. This is the real nuts and bolts stuff. They're the ones building and maintaining the entire digital world where the software actually lives. It's like they're the architects of the cloud, literally writing code to spin up servers, networks, storage, and of course, keeping it all locked down and secure. And of course, they have to get the software out the door. That's deployment and monitoring. This is all about building those automated pipelines to ship code and then watching everything like a hawk to make sure it's healthy. And yeah, you see chaos engineering on here, which is, believe it or not, exactly what it sounds like. You're intentionally trying to break things in a controlled way to find weak spots before they turn into total disasters. And look, things are going to break. It's just a fact of life in tech. That brings us to the last big on-paper duty, resolution and resiliency. This is the firefighter part of the job. They're troubleshooting, figuring out what went wrong, jumping on alerts the second they pop up, and making sure all the data is backed up. When things go sideways, they are absolutely the first line of defense. Okay, so that's what they're supposed to do officially. But what are they using to get it all done? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the toolbox. Whoa, and just look at this list. This really shows you how wide-ranging this job is. I mean, you've got to know the big cloud platforms like AWS and Azure. You're writing infrastructure as code with tools like Terraform. You're building CI/CD pipelines with Jenkins or GitHub Actions. You're monitoring everything with Prometheus. You're deep into containers with Docker and Kubernetes. Oh, and you better know how to script in Python or Bash. It's a massive, constantly changing set of tools. Okay, now for the really fun part. We've seen the blueprint, we've seen the tools. But what happens when all that theory smacks right into the messy, unpredictable reality of a Tuesday afternoon? Let's hear what it's actually like from the people on the front lines. All right, let's look at a classic example. The official task says something like, enabling developers to take ownership of their software. Sounds very strategic, right? Very empowering, very high level. But the reality, as one engineer on Reddit so beautifully put it, is often just helping developers learn how to use the computer. A little less abstract, a little more, well, real. Okay, let's do another one. Official task, troubleshoots broken deployments. You hear that and you picture someone doing this deep, complex diagnostic work, solving massive system failures. And the reality? It's often just read error log lines back to developers for their own application. And, you know, it makes sense. Sometimes the developer is just so deep in the weeds with their own code, they can't see the simple solutions staring them in the face. The DevOps engineer is just that fresh pair of eyes. All right, last one for this section. The official job description says they liaise between the development, operations, and DevOps teams. Again, sounds very official, very corporate. But what's it really feel like? Well, it's more like being a translator. You're constantly switching between dev language and IT/network guy language. You're taking what the developer wants and turning it into something the network team can actually implement, and back again. It's not just passing messages. It's active, real-time translation. So when you put it all together, what you find is that a DevOps engineer wears a ton of different hats. Seriously, they're part IT department for the dev team, part translator, part firefighter when everything's on fire, and part professional cat herder. And my personal favorite analogy, a janitor who's cleaning up after the monkeys. It paints a picture, doesn't it?
So you've got these two totally different pictures of the same job. How does that work? Well, figuring that out brings us to the real secret of what it takes to be good at this.
And this is the whole thing, right here. On one hand, you've got the job, the blueprint. It's all about collaboration, automation, infrastructure as code. But on the other hand, you've got the gig, the reality, and that's translating firefighting and herding cats. The key is understanding that the job isn't one or the other, it's both at the same time.
And this quote from that same discussion just hits the nail on the head. DevOps is a jack of many trades, master of few, not all. You have to know enough about everything to jump in and solve a problem, but it's literally impossible to be a deep expert in every single one of those tools.
And that really is the heart of it. The true value of a DevOps engineer is being able to live in both of these worlds at once, the planned, structured world of process and the messy, chaotic world of everyday problems. See, a great DevOps engineer isn't just someone who can write a perfect script. They're someone who can design a beautiful, automated system and also knows how to patiently help a developer who's just stuck. They have to thrive in both the calm and the storm.
So that brings us to the final question. After all this, what is a DevOps engineer? Are they a builder, a firefighter, a translator? The answer? It's yes. They're all of those things, sometimes all before lunch. And that's what makes this job so tough, so important, and honestly,